draft toward 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers,
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort while our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical, intelligence, and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amazonia die as a wish because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved than by greater sacrifices. We are enough, so let's draft, draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop. Good evening. This is Undaunted Weekly Recap and Pre-Draft Show. I am Oni Opmaland on behalf of my co-anchor and the entire Undaunted crew. You're welcome. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Onyi. Good evening, fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, you are welcome. Today is the D-Day for Menchum County, and as always, Amazonians are expected to come in their numbers and draft.
Since Menchum is the spotlight, let's give you an overview of the county before the weekly recap. Menchum County covers an area of 4,469 kilometers per square, and as of 2001, a total population of 157,173. The capital of the department is Wum. In descending order of population size, the four communities of Menchums are Fungum, Menchum Valley, Wum, and Furawa. Menchum has the third largest surface area of the counties and is the 19th most popular in the nation and the 11th in the population density. Let's talk about the resources. Wum municipality partly holds the Common Forest Reserve, which spans from below in Boyo Division to Wum in Menchum Division. Now, this reserve that was created in 1951 has a surface area of 8,029 hectares. The reserve contains many plants and animal species and wetlands. There are natural resources like mineral Great Lakes, Afropane vegetation, and montane forests.
Well, on the economy of Menchum County, with an annual production of 109,000 tons of food crop produced, Menchum County ranks ninth nationally as a food crop production. Menchum's overall economic profile is most similar to Kope-Monem-Guba County and somewhat comparable to Momo, Midland State, and Boyo, Savannah State counties. Now, Boyo County shares Menchum's eastern border and several road links the two counties. On the 17 villages that are in Womb Council, 10 of them are in the Agem clan. Then the rest out of these are Menteng, Aguli, Bangwe, Atwe, Itiaku, Echwan, and Bu. The population is a conglomerate of ethnic groups, which are the Agems, Tikaris, and Hausa Fulanese in Womb Central, and Widikums in Aguli, Atwe, Meteng, Itiaku, and Bangwe. There are also immigrants from other parts of the country, especially from the divisions in the northwest region and from neighboring Nigeria with whom the municipality share boundaries. In the commune of Benankuma, the main indigenous languages spoken by the people of Esimbi are Befang, Modole, Oke, Manjang, and Mukuru. These three clans make up the administrative unit known today as Menchum Valley Subdivision, which corresponds to the Benakuma Council. The people of the Zua Council belong mainly to Tikaris and Mbororos, Aku's ethnic group.
We still have some more details about Menchum County. We will give it to you in the course of tonight's discussion. But I must say that I love the way you look in your outfit, Star.
Same goes to you, Onyi. Thank you. We would like to extend our gratitude to Kemi Ashu for costuming us today. Thank you so much, Kemi Ashu. We cannot ignore ABC Amber TV, Board Club, and patron members for ensuring that we are representing the cultural diversity in our outfits during every draft day.
All right. Thank you, Kemi Ashu. Thank you, ABC Amber TV Board. Thank you, club members. Thank you, Ambazonians. We will be back with a recap right after the break. Stay tuned.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
The Amber World Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day? While our boys on the ground lack the basic gear they need to resist the occupiers?
Are we still living a life of luxury and comfort? While our brave restoration forces lack medical supplies at the home front?
Are we still throwing big birthday bashes while our restoration forces lack basic communication equipment to maximize their efforts?
Are we still going on cruises and expensive vacations while our IDFs on the ground go without food and logistics?
Are we still finding excuses not to make the necessary sacrifices and drafting big while our restoration forces lack the game-changing equipment that they so desperately need to bleed the enemy?
On a daily basis, how much are we putting aside for our liberation, knowing that only through the fierce resistance are we going to liberate our beloved country?
Are we providing the federal government and the CIC the means to carry out some of the critical intelligence and other special operations across the national territory?
As we ponder these questions, we must remember that a goal that is not funded is nothing but a wish. And we must not let Amazonia die as a wish because we failed to fulfill our patriotic duties by making the great sacrifices befitting a great people.
The World Draft once more is coming to your county. Stand up and be counted. No greater victory was ever achieved done by greater sacrifices. We are enough. So let's draft, draft, and draft until we drop. Our existence as a people depend on that.
It is Award 22. Let us draft until we drop. All right, and you're welcome back. Here is the recap proper. Now, during the course of the week, specifically on the 3rd of October, we looked at the IG's position of the Canada Conference. You see, as the war continues in southern Cameroon and Biya rejecting the peace plan and calls for the end of Swiss-led mediation, it's highly worrisome. Well, while Ambazonians think it's absurd, it's obvious that La République du Cameroon has boycotted the mediation process for their own interests, even when the international community's position is on beer to engage in dialogue without preconditions to end the violence. The IG had requested the following, amongst others. First, that there must be an official commitment by both sides, that is Federal Republic of Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon, to follow through with the talks after a mediator is mandated. Also, the mediator convenes the meeting, not either of the two parties. He or she must be willing to guarantee the security of all participants. And also that any of such talks must be between two delegates, one representing La République du Cameroon and another Southern Cameroon's Ambazonians. Anyways, according to Dr. Sako, he has said that when La République du Cameroon will be ready for negotiation, they will meet the interim government in a mediated process. So we wait.
Also, Undaunted has been reliably informed that coup plotters are planning to write or have even written a letter to the international community that President Sako was impeached. 9 months after this evil machination was floored for lack of evidence, were the coupers waiting for the Master La République du Cameroon to withdraw from the negotiations at the Swiss-led process before going revisiting their diabolical plot. Well, the international community knows which leader calls the shots in the southern Cameroon's Amazonian struggle.
All right, and so by this time last week, Saturday, we were preparing to draft for Indian. And so on Monday, the 10th, we analyzed the president's speech for Indian. And we mentioned that President Sako says that Indian is one county that has become the main source of revenue for dictator Paul Biya's expensive genocidal war on us, which he says makes the richly blessed Indian county the battleground where we have to bring La République du Cameroon to its knees in order to shorten our journey to freedom.
Yes, and going on this week, we also talked about the interim government's position, reiterating that on any meeting initiated by La République du Cameroon under the guise of talks to explore a one Cameroon agenda, um, the president talked about his recent press release saying the interim government will not engage in any backdoor or unofficial talks with La République du Cameroon, and any Ambazonian who is trying to spill our position on this matter is just an enemy or an enemy's loudspeaker against the interim government, as the position of the interim government is nothing different from what the peoples of Ambazonia want.
Biya's expensive genocidal war on us. That makes this richly blessed county the battleground where we have to bring the enemy, La République du Cameroon, to its knees in order to shorten our journey to freedom. Due to the fallout of the antics of the coup plotters, the ARFs of Dian under the leadership of FM Tenkobo have been formidable as a defense force, courageously challenging all forms of colonial thievery in this economic and resource-filled county. Thank you, FM. If any sane Ambazonia liberation stakeholder did not learn from La République du Cameroon's manipulative, foot-dragging attitude towards the Swiss-led talks, then there is nothing much we can do to improve their revolutionary IQ. My recent press release is simple and direct. Your interim government under my leadership will not engage in any backdoor or unofficial talks with La République du Cameroon. La République has deceived us for too long. They tricked some of our so-called elite with positions. 61 years after, we don't see even half a kilometer of tar on the road to their villages. The Republic of Cameroon has given them cars, but no roads to drive on to Ndian. The Republic has given them money, but they are now like distant strangers to their own people. The Republic of Cameroon made them your representatives in government, separated them from our reality, gave them new wives and new names. Today, they represent themselves on the table of our killers. They are dressed in our customs and costumes, and they answer our names but are ashamed of our identity. They speak English in their closets but are obliged to utter gibberish in public in what sounds like the language of our slave masters, French. Today, their French tongue has become the language of betrayers, the armor of robbers, and the scepter of criminals. The Republic of Cameroon has control of all that belongs to you, but they are telling you to be careful because Amazonia wants to take what belongs to you. It is like a notorious bully went from house to house seizing every valuable from people in his community. He was living large in the midst of poverty. One day, a group made up of his victims and some community vanguards decided to storm the home of that thief to strip him of all that he has forcefully taken from the community. But the thief cried out for help, saying, "Some armed robbers want to steal your property in my house. I was only preserving it for you people. Please help." Will it even be funny if any victim from that community comes out and instead of fighting to recover what belongs to him, he decides to protect the thief who has brought pain and misery to the community? Only a thief can fight for a thief. Valiant Ambazonia Restoration Forces Indian, I salute you all for your bravery and tenacity in the face of grueling adversities. The enemy now, out of fear, resorts to stealing and transporting resources through unconventional routes. But it is time for us to cut off every remaining route and pull down all exploitation outlets. Patriotic sons and daughters of the great county of Ndian, fellow supporters of Ndian, thank you once more for honoring our invitation to join us in this routine patriotic duty. Ndian is great in riches, mighty in deeds, but few in numbers. When you acknowledge the true size of your strength, of your numbers, unity amongst yourselves and unity with the rest of Amazonia will make sense. We are one people, one nation, one authority, fighting against one enemy, La République du Cameroon. Viva the great people of Undaunted County. Viva our great and brave Amazonia Restoration Forces. Viva the Federal Republic of Amazonia. And God bless our beautiful country.
All right, and of course, today we will expect another speech from the president. While coup plotters are at daggers drawn over purported killing of field marshals. But who now bears the cat, Marianta or Ano? Well, the fiction is what we are waiting for. Now, an inhuman video just went viral on social media at Menchum County, with certain forces yet to be identified, but speaking in broken English itself, and some, touch of French. Now, these forces vent their anger in a setting Asong they arrested and tied like an animal. They said Asong would appear, is given beatings and forced to answer thunderous questions on the jurors, guiding him to accept his responsibility in the demise of the dreaded former Field Marshal of Ambazonia, FMA.
Hotel military say major day. Now what do you fit say? Population for the BLM. Talk am. Let me measure the household. Yes. Now what do you fit say population?
I don't talk population say wait me person where they look me where Kingsley them they fool me. See where they catch me. I no be ever take military go kill any amber.
Okay, I know the call your talk. Now wait till you fit send message for General Bride. Now who them go for General Bride they come? Now me measure General God promise. Tell me. Amadu now who?
Amadu with this boy come up for photo picking. They call Asun.
Asun.
Yes, Asun.
No, they call up reference.
Asun, c'est lui qui était le chauffeur. Hein?
Mahjong Gong.
Yeah, Mahjong Gong Agua.
Okay, now them the league military go for Bride they come.
Yes, for Bride they come.
Okay. Now which people then they try for locate their Boko Haram come.
Shut up! Now only this man. Man when they go for Boko Haram they come mostly.
Now look at me now we be carry power for machine. You come up for one side before you carry power for machine.
I come for that farm for Papo.
They look at. Look me. For that farm for Papo.
Yes.
Where you be tell you don't tell we say you know we be for the bad. Now so you tell we say you carry power for Papo. Move your ring for your hand first per second.
Yeah?
Per second, move your ring for your hand first. We know say we won't die, but we'll try our best before we die. We fight for a nation. We know the fight, personal fight. Thank you very much. Now you be carry power.
Yes,
you take planting leaf, take and carry the honorable.
Yes.
Field Marshal the king, the whole Amazonia. You take planting leaf. Now we be carry tell you say me take planting leaf.
No, no.
Okay, 5.5. Thank you very much. Waiting use if you send them for it.
I don't touch here. I don't touch it 2 minutes, you don't do them. You know, correct. And now kids, you know, if Pa be sponsor Kingsley, he give money, he talk for Kingsley, say make Kingsley go Dubai. And then Kingsley still woke up again with that very heart. Kingsley still woke up. Come on, go for Congo. When a baron sponsor, he go for Congo. Kingsley turn back for a year. So my man. Then she make them they go keep back. I be very shameful. If I be not saying I saw Kingsley there, and I'm not for even them for the mission.
Well, you've seen that horrific video for yourself. We also reported this week that the colonial La Republic du Cameroon soldiers have again killed 3 persons, breaking Monday, October 10th, 2022, at Mbonge local government area, a father and 2 sons assassinated. The colonial La Republic du Cameroon's military are now pouring their frustration on innocent civilians. As always is the case, they have completely missed out their game plan against the home front fighters. And the resistance mounted by the Amazonian home front fighters is indeed a hard nut to crack for La Republic du Cameroon's military. So whenever the colonial soldiers loyal to dictator Biya suffer in the hands of Amazonian fighters, they vent their rage on the innocent population. Well, this time around, 3 persons, a father, 2 sons, were killed by these thugs of Paul Biya in their cocoa farm in Mbonge local government area. The 3 have been laid to rest while the entire locality is still to recover from the shock. Here is a video of the funeral of this lost 3.
From today, and I'm not giving no rest. I'm not be stranger.
Right, very sad video. We also reported on Blaise Che, who is one of the coup plotters who orchestrated the mass swindling of our money from Amazonian Foundation, that is the National Treasury. The coffers tried to be smart after he was sued by Amazonian Foundation. Well, he filed in a motion to have the case dismissed. We also analyzed this, and Barrister Tim Bixia gave a resounding thought on this particular issue during the week.
Surely. And another report of 11th October, La Republic du Cameroon terrorists elements invaded the village of Akay local government area, Boyo County, in the night where no PT is believed to be hiding after he showed up there in a spectacular October 1st Ambazonian Independence Day celebrations 2022. Now, serious gunfire exchange was reported coming from the village, with two houses confirmed burnt down early in the morning of October 11th, 2022 by the genocidal La Republique du Cameroon terrorist soldiers.
All right, and we also told you that one of the activities trending in Amazonia as the lockdown is being observed is the increase in sports and activities. What do they say about physical activities? Of course, they are great need to the body. Now, the number of sports and groups and number of participants keeps growing on a regular basis.
Feeling fine, go show Mr. Tamani. How are you? Feeling fine, go show for you. It's inside the company for you. Listen up, it phone. They call you home. Hey, Ludo. That's it. The buttocks, the buttocks. So,
a very smart way to spend the Monday lockdowns. Well, there was another report, an outbreak of monkeypox in the Atlantic zone of Amazonia. In a communique signed by the colonial health boss of the southern zone, Dr. Eko Filbert, on Monday, October 10th, 2022, two local government areas, Kumba and Mbonge, have been affected by monkeypox. Since 13th May 2022, cases of monkeypox have been reported to World Health Organization for 12 member states that are not endemic for monkeypox virus across 3 World Health Organization regions, and continue to be reported in places endemic for monkeypox virus. And on this fateful day, we got this report of the spread of monkeypox virus in the Atlantic zone.
Now, according to Mini Mefo Info, a man is reported to have broken into a police station in the west region of La Republique du Cameroon after waiting tirelessly for the release of his national identity card. The incident occurred on the evening of October 10, 2022. Reports indicate that the man earlier arrived at the police station and asked for his identity card, but was told by the officer on duty that it was not yet available, and that got him extremely angry. And the police took advantage and beat him up.
Okay, so that's the case there, and that's the case for the national identity card. And we also reported that in-house slaves city councillor of the Bamenda City Board have voted a deliberation to initiate the rehabilitation works on the urban road network of Bamenda. Now, the deliberation was voted as the colonial Bamenda City Council converged for its midterm evaluation Thursday, September 1st, 2022. 400 million francs CFA is needed to make the road passable around Bamenda, according to studies. Now, this will see the greater portion of the broken tire removed and water channeled out of the road, according to a declaration of the in-house slave Bamenda City Mayor Paul Achombo.
All right, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, an annual campaign to raise awareness about the impact of breast cancer. Now, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, you're required to ask your doctor when you should get a mammogram. Other than skin cancer, breast cancer is the most common cancer amongst American women. Mammograms are the best way to find breast cancer early when it is easier to treat and before it is big enough to feel or cause symptoms.
Okay, are you worried about the cost of CDC's National Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program? Well, this offers free or low-cost mammograms to women who have low incomes and are uninsured or underinsured. To what extent do women in most African countries, especially Amazonia, during this time of war benefit from this? Well, what are the symptoms? There are different symptoms of breast cancer, and some people have no symptoms at all. Symptoms can include any change in the size or the shape of the breast, pain in any area of the breast, nipple discharge, or other than breast milk, including blood, a new lump in the breast or underarm. And if you have any of the signs that you worry, we told you that you should see your doctor right away. Well, there was a video illustrating how to check if you have a lump. We have it here for you.
Surgeons at City of Hope. Today I'm going to talk to you about self-breast examination. Around 8 out of 10 women detect breast cancers or breast lumps themselves. Therefore, it's important that every woman understand the basics of a self-breast examination. There are actually two components, look and feel. For the first part of the exam, looking, you want to stand or sit in front of a mirror. With your clothes off, you want to look at both breasts to see if there are any differences between the two. Examine the nipples to see if there's any difference between the two. Is one redder than the other? Is one pulling in? Then you want to put your hands on your hips and turn from side to side to see if there are any changes. While standing, you actually want to put your arms forward on your hips because this will bring out lumps that might not appear otherwise. It's important to raise both arms above the head. This will draw out any puckering or dimpling for masses that might be underneath the nipple. If you're standing like this and you have a mass that's kind of in the lower part, you might not see it at all. But when you raise your arms, what happens is that mass kind of stays and then the skin kind of pulls in as you're pulling up. That was the first part of the examination. For the second part, you want to be lying down. You want to put your head on a pillow to prop yourself up and place one arm behind your head. Then with your other hand, you want to use your first 3 fingers. When you use only 1 finger or 2 fingers, you can actually separate the breast tissue and think that you feel something that isn't there. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can either go in a circular motion all the way around the breast, making sure that you overlap every area, or you can go up, down, all the way across. I prefer the circular motion, from the collarbone to the sternum or mid-chest, below the breast, and then all the way actually out into the underarm. Lymph nodes are underneath the underarm, and sometimes those can become bigger. When you're doing the breast examination, you're looking for things that feel different from the surrounding tissue. What you're looking for is something that stands out, something that feels like a pea or a marble or a walnut. You want to make sure that you do this examination at the same time each month. Remember, the most important thing about a breast self-examination is to know your breast. That way you can note any changes and alert your doctor.
Now, we had Dr. Yaya and Dr. Patience go through that part of the news with us. And moving on with the recap of this week, prisons, different cells in colonial police stations in the northern zone of Amazonia are all full with La Republic du Cameroon military officers. These soldiers are incarcerated for refusing to face the Amazonian liberation fighters. Now, these victimized colonial La Republic du Cameroon forces justified their refusal to go for battle that the use of improvised explosive devices, the IEDs, by the fighters is a hard nut to crack and is killing them in their numbers. Now, sensing that refusal to go for battle might eventually lead them changing camps, their chief of armed force, Dictator Paul Biya, ordered for their detention. The use of IED has been a very successful weapon in the hands of the Amazonian liberation fighters, and we've seen proof of that. The IEDs, they are able to disfigure the heavy war designed vehicles of La Republic du Cameroon.
All right, it has also come to our knowledge that 2 civilians have been killed by members of La Republic du Cameroon military after an invasion in Besa village and set more than 10 houses ablaze. The colonial military men invaded the village since Tuesday, October 11th, at about 5 a.m. During the period of burning houses, these thugs killed one man and a child and dumped them in the river. Now, a source hinted Undaunted. Also, Undaunted learned that the colonial La Republic Dukeman forces attacked the village in search of Amazonian separatist fighters. It is said that separatist commander Mbesha Clement, alias Field Marshal No PT, was around the Mbesa village. Mbesa village is located in a Bello local government area of Boyle County in the northern zone of Amazonia. Now, if you missed the recap for the week, I'm sure that you went through the stories with us. Now, these are the highlights of our major stories during the week. Now, before we get into the draft proper, we have something about the biodiversity, ecotourism, and the potentials of Menchum County. But before we give you this detail, we have Mr. Tar at the other end of our studio with some representatives of Menchum County. We have Barrister Tim Misia, we have Barrister Fu John. So also, they will definitely tell us their expectation and also a lot about Menchum County. Mr. Tar, over to you. Good evening.
Good evening, Onye. Good evening, fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again. You're welcome to this very special edition of the pre-draft show for Menchum County. Yes, with us in the studio, we have two officials representing Menchum County. You all know Pastor Commando. We have the coordinator of the county, Peter Kum, that is here. And then we have special guests because of the topical issues we'll be dissecting before the president joins the Zoom and on top of the hour. The discussion this evening will be quite extensive. I'm not going to waste your time. You've been waiting. You've been waiting. And the Zoom, I just want to inform Amazonians that are watching on Facebook and on YouTube that the Zoom link is open. And there are chances that whatever we are broadcasting live right now is also being streamed in the Zoom meeting. So you can log into the Zoom and you'll be part of our discussion. Tell somebody to tell somebody that we're live. And right away, I like to make welcome all the officials of this county that are here now, and Barrister Team and Barrister Fru. Good evening and welcome, sirs. Pastor Commando, good evening and welcome. Chairman Kum, you're welcome. Barrister Fru, you're welcome.
Thank you, Paddy.
Perhaps without any order, you would want to. I like somebody to mute one of their devices. Is echoing. If you have two devices on, mute one of them so that we can have a better sound. Thank you. Yes, without any formal order, we may want to just say hi to Amazonians. This is one of the counties I don't know how to greet in the dialect. I would have just done so, but you're very well dressed, Pastor Commando. I don't know if Coordinator Kum is formally dressed, but then Ma Irene will make that determination. There is a fine if he's not properly dressed. You're welcome once again. Today, like the lady said, is a D-Day. It is the D-Day for Menchum County. Welcome and good evening, gentlemen. Maybe I should start with the county coordinator. Good evening. You want to talk to us? We listening. Well, your sound is having a challenge. Pastor Command, go ahead. Sort out your sound. Just look at your device and try to work out with your sound.
Chairman, check up if you have two devices. You remove one.
If you connect with two devices on that device, it will not be feasible. Okay. Barrister Fru, go ahead, please. Champion the day.
Oh, thank you, Paddy. Today is a great day. It's a great day for Menchum. We all know the importance of Menchum to the Federal Republic of Amazonia. Menchum has the mighty Menchum, Menchum Fall that will be supplying us and even Nigeria hydroelectricity. That said, Menchum, I watched something on Menchum that is very very worrying. La Republic has built a big center in Menchum, and they are housing the whole battalion of B in Menchum. And secondly, uh, uh, the Menchum people are suffering in the hands of not only La Republic, in the hands of Fulani, so you call them Bororos, and the CPDM cabal. Recently, 1 or 2 days ago, the military killed so many people in Minchum, in Wum, in a quarter in Wum, just because one soldier died. I don't know the circumstances under which the soldier died, but they shot people on sight, and they burned down villages and so on and so forth. That is to further tell you how important this draft is for Minchum. We need to empower our boys and girls in Minchum to be able to take up the task of defending our people. And also, we need to put a program together that will address the Mbororo issue, because the Mbororos, some of them are part of and parcel of us. Some of them are Fulanis from Nigeria. Minchum is infiltrated from Nigeria all over the place. We don't know who is who among those Fulanese or Minchum or Mbororo people. So Minchum has a challenge that we must meet. Therefore, it is imperative that we draft seriously for Minchum today. So I will allow the chairman of Minchum to take over from here, or Pastor Commando, who is very very active. Let him tell us what we need to do today for Minchum. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead, Pastor Commando. Pastor Commando, go right ahead.
Yeah, Chairman Kum, I think Barrister, thank you very much for that suggestion. But you see, the interim government goes with hierarchy, and we are very, very careful not to rush ahead of our hierarchical positions. So it's my pleasure to let my chairman, the coordinator for Menchum County, go ahead and then say something before I could coming in behind him. Thank you very much. Over to you, Chairman.
Chairman is.
I can't hear him.
Chairman Kum, your device.
Check your mic.
You may want to lock out. You may want to log out and log in. If you can hear us, just log out and log in. Pastor Commando, go ahead, brief us before the chairman comes. We brief us on the status quo in the county, please.
Yes, I think we all know that in the 6 divisions that existed in those days, before La Republic came in to divide and rule us, to bring us divide and rule by putting in some appellations like Northwest and Southwest. We never had that. We never knew that. We knew of 6 divisions that were prominent in West Cameroon, or former British Southern Cameroons. And one of the oldest of these divisions was Wum, which they call Menchum Division. And over the years, I will not talk about the other counties now, but let me zero down to Wum. Wum was given a kind of a nickname because Laik happened to have gotten some people from there and intoxicated them to be petition writers. So, and the petitions they are writing never talked about the development of their of the county, and we have had a lot of people who have come up in the formal governments, and whom, particularly Menchum County, was like it was forgotten. But today, we are seeing that with the government of the people, for the people, by the people, Menchum County is coming up very, very powerfully. And like somebody did mention, there are a lot of hidden things. When I say hidden things, I mean what God has buried underneath Menchum County. Nobody is yet available to unfold what is under there. Menchum alone can employ. I'm not under exaggerate. I mean, I'm not over exaggerating. Maybe I'm under exaggerating. That Menchum alone can carefully employ more than 4 million Amazonians into different fields. Recently, it was discovered, and this is what one of the chief executive officers who was employed by La Republique to work in Menchim. He worked in one of our LGAs for many years, and a few months ago, he called me and gave me a shocking story of the natural resources that we have in Menchum County. I may not mention the particular LGA now, so that La Republic should not rush in there and then do what they know how to do. He told me that he worked in that particular LGA for a long time and discovered that there is a forest in that LGA that has all the species of trees that are found in all the continents of the world. If you get into that forest in that particular LGA in Menchum County, you'll find that forest with all the specific species of trees that are found in every part of the world. Then he furthermore went on to tell me that, hey, Pastor Commando, do you know that in this particular LGA, there is a river that has not been discovered by La Republique that has all species of fishes that are found in the world? Can you believe that? I say, Mr. I don't want to mention, because if I mention, people will just go around look for him. I say, Mr. Officer, are you serious? I am telling you, not only as an administrator, also as an agri who had the opportunity of being in this place and seeing this thing. And he went ahead to let me know that every form of crop can grow in Menchum County. Are you talking about rice? Are you talking about cocoa? Are you talking about coffee? Are you talking about every kind of crop that, that particular LGA has a volcanic soil that things grow there without necessarily going in for the fertilizers? And I was shocktalized. Shocktalized is the past participle of shocked. That is from.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor Commando. Chairman Kum, as you're watching in the Zoom meeting, I can actually see you. You're in the Zoom. Just follow this very simple procedure. Whatever device you're using, make sure that the device is not connected with any other app that is streaming. Lock out, refresh your device, use the same code and log in again. Pastor Commando, make one of the other accounts I'm using, the one with my name, a co-host. That will make it easy. And all those who are joining the Zoom, avoid unmuting yourself. I will change the settings so that you cannot unmute yourself, so that we can facilitate the discussion as we're moving on. Thank you very much. Barrister Team, you want to take on while we wait for Chairman Kum to log in?
Well, if you permit me, I would say something.
Yes, go right ahead, please.
I'll say something a little bit different, at the risk of offending people who might not understand me. Now, this is Menchum draft, and lest we forget, we have always forgotten the word war draft. This is a war draft. And what does it mean? It means that we're fighting war. We should not take our eyes off the ball. Menchum has all those things that you have mentioned. That's a fact. The Fulani, the Muros are there fighting. That's a fact. But they've been living there forever. They were not fighting. This is a distraction now to take us off the ball.
Yeah.
If it is a war draft, and I'm sure it is one, a war has only two parties, the fighters and the enemy. I'm very sure there are so many people in Menchum division who don't have even water to drink. And yet the water is flowing and falling over the cliffs. They don't even have medicine to cure themselves, yet the trees are all there. Why? Why, you must ask this question. The enemy, the Republic, is responsible for all this. You can go there, you find some people who call themselves chef de terre. They have always been there. They have been there for the past 60 years. So, this is the war draft. We shall handle Ambazonia, shall handle the Bororo Fulani issue as usual. Those are internal conflicts. So it should not be a distraction. I remember watching one of these funny things yesterday in Equinox, and I got a certain guy, Mr. Nick Wayama, the other guy, who put the story so nice.
Mr. Tim, I'm not cutting you short, but just to agree with you, we even have intelligence that you have some of the Atangaji boys actually attacking the Bororos or the Fulanis to spark conflict between them and the Genuine Restoration Forces. That is an agreement with what you're saying. So it's a gimmick that we understand.
Yeah, I was trying to say that yesterday I watched this thing on Equinox. And these two guys, Ngwanyam and Pastor whoever, they made a very good point. They said, look, Federalists, Confederalists, Unionists are just opportunists. And this guy made a point that, look, the Federalists have been there forever. There was never war. The Confederates have been there forever. There have never been any war. If you want to solve this problem, address the separatists, as he put it. And so we have all these issues in Mezam, just like we have them in any other part of our territory. But that's not the issue now. This draft, no penny is going to devour the Menchum 4. No penny is going to help solve the Bururu or whatever thing conflict. We are going to fight the enemy. And once the enemy is down, those problems will be solved. So it's good that we know what we are worth and we have to fight for it to get what we are worth as a right. So Menchum, like other counties before it and after it, we will draft and focus on the enemy until we bring the enemy down. The duos and those people who live in Menchum, they don't even have water themselves to drink. They are the chef de terre for what? But they cannot complain. So Menchum, draft, it is called again war draft. We will draft, focus on the enemy, kick out the enemy, and any other problem will be solved later on. Thank you, Paddy.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Barrister.
Barrister Team. I think we will focus on Pastor Commando would have to man the game while we're hoping that we can have Peter Kum connect. As you can see from our caption, we are talking about the biodiversity, the ecotourism, and the undermined economic potential of this county. The objective is for us to bring that in the minds of Ambazonians and to give reasons why not just the denizens of this county would have to commit to the draft tonight, but every patriotic Ambazonian, anyone who believes that a free Ambazonia will lead to a prosperous Ambazonia, to commit to the draft of tonight. Yes, Pastor Commando, I would like you to talk very specifically what the county structure is right now after the Kupas raid, what are some of the things you're doing within the level of the county to mobilize and reorganize the county, and what should Amazonians be expecting after they come to commit their resources for this county tonight. Thank you. Go right ahead. Your volume is off, Pastor. Good. Comrade Kum is back. Can you talk? Let me be sure that you have sound. Just speak.
Yeah, Paddy, can you hear me?
Wonderful. So, okay, mute the other device.
I have.
Thank you. That is beautiful. I'm glad that I finally got you. Now, before you came, you're going to introduce yourself and just take the responsibility to answer us this. We are coming from a storm. Last year, by this time, as a government and as a people, we were putting ourselves together to fight against an enemy from within that has been sponsored by the enemy from external or from without. By this time, we are trying to restructure, mobilize, and to keep fighting. The draft thus far has been the success mechanism that is undisputed. Now, we would like to know you that is manning this county as a head or the chief or the coordinator of the county to tell us what is happening in the county when it comes to remobilizing your people, first of all, before you get the resources and restructuring. And what should Amazonians be expecting as we commit towards tonight's draft?
Thank you very much, Comrade Paddy. I want to say greetings to my fellow panelists in here and to Ambazonians in general, especially to Menchumites. My name is Peter Kuman, the Menchum County Coordinator. I'm glad to be here this evening to share with you a moment of what we're looking forward to tonight, which is the Menchum County World Draft. I like the word that Barrister team used. It is important because it tells our people exactly why we're here. Because sometimes when people hear about draft, they do not actually recollect why the draft. So that was an important interjection there. Now, to your question, you're absolutely correct that by this time last year, we were in a struggle to recover from the shocks that had befallen Menchum. But I have good news for Menchum. First of all, today is D-Day, and there is a lot more to know about Menchum. For those who have been on the sidelines, this is your opportunity. Paddy Menchum has been re-mobilized, reconstituted. In fact, over the past couple of months, we've remobilized ourselves. We've reached out to comrades who had been discouraged and disappointed with what had gone on. And we've explained continuously why we must come back, because it's only somebody who doesn't know where they are going, or who do not have a destination, that will fall and remain on the ground. No, you fall, you look at what caused the fall, and you re-strategize and you move forward stronger than you had ever been. So that is exactly what we've done. So at the moment, we are operating as a county, uh, bringing together all the LGAs, Menchum Valley, Wum, Frawa, and Fungom. And we have a standing executive with all departments represented. No doubt there are some that are yet to be constituted fully, but I would say on a score of 100, we are 80% fully constituted in terms of organization and administration. Now, there was also this challenge of financial management. Uh, I wouldn't even call it a challenge as such, because what happened last time was in the process of us, building up our financial muscles to make sure that we controlled and manage resources in a productive manner that will not result in any misappropriation. As I speak, Menchum has put in place a robust financial structure. We have two financial accounts, one for Room LGA and one for Fungom. And in each of this, you have at least three signatories. So if anybody is out there having concerns, be they Menchumites or Ambazonians in general, about any financial misappropriation, please, I will appeal that it is history as I speak. Because not only have we put in place those accounts, we've equally made sure that we follow the interim government financial policies when it comes to expenditure. We are very strict as far as disbursing funds is concerned. I can assure you that since we put up this structure in place, no single franc or dollar has gone out without a requisition. And for every requisition that has been raised and approved and finances disbursed for such, we've had reports on the outcome of the purpose for which they were disbursed in the first place. And for those who have been contributing, assisting our farmers, when I talk of farmers, I hope you understand who I mean. I mean the ARFs. They have been having reports on all that they have put in. So when it comes to organization, when it comes to financial management, Menchum is ready to take your funds and put them where they are desired to be. So there shouldn't be any fear when it comes to that. And we're united as well. There is nothing like disunity in Menchum. It doesn't happen. No doubt we have challenges which have been well articulated here. I want to thank Barrister Fru and Barrister Timothy, as well as VC Commando, for articulating those very well. Yes, those are the things we face.
Okay.
And
Go right
Buddy,
ahead. I can hear you.
should I continue?
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
In terms of challenges that we face now, I would like to inform Ambazonians and the Menchumites in particular that our ARFs need your support badly. They lack material. They are very willing, determined, and courageous to make us happy, to free Menchum and free Ambazonia, but they lack material. Another problem that we have in Menchum is that of communication. The network infrastructure covering Menchum is not stable at all. So we have a plan in place to navigate through that challenge. But again, it would take resources, financial resources, to get them in place. So beside the farmer grazer feud crisis or conflict that we have, which, as Barrister Tim rightly said, is an orchestration of the colonial and genocidal regime, because we've lived with our Mororo brothers and sisters for decades without any major problems until the struggle escalated in 2016. So we will not allow the colonial regime to dictate the pace of our relationship with the Mororos. We will take it the way we've always taken, and the turns which we see now will be reversed. God being our helper. I will hold my breath for now, and I will come back for more questions. Thank you.
Yeah, you are here. You are not coming back. You are here until we release you. I am observing the Zoom link. At any time, I believe that you, the officials of the county, will have to go. I will communicate that. And fortunately, I have two very powerful men here. They are the main major. They are advisors of this interim government, and there are some very technical issues we have to talk about. We took our time and did a research with Undaunted. We had something very, very important, which I think it's important for us to have to share that with you today. And that was, I would say, it was a discovery or a rediscovery of this very rich county. So coming to talk with us here tonight is not strange with us. Before I hand over the mic back to the ladies for them to bring to us this research we did on the biodiversity, ecotourism, and the economic potential, promises that the colonial government has made and that has not fulfilled. You honestly identified the challenges and mentioned that before now there was misappropriation. And that Amazonians are very keen with that. Also, there is this aspect of the Bororo militia or the armed groups that are at variance with purported restoration forces. You may not want to talk a lot on that. Perhaps you do not want to disseminate strategy. But very briefly, before we get this documentary produced by by Undaunted, can we be confident that you have well calculated, or your county is adhering to the federal government self-defense apparatus? When Amazonians entrust you with their resources today, knowing that firepower will not only resurface, but we will have a force to reckon with when it comes to your county.
Thank you very much, Paddy, for that question. It's quite timely, and um, I mean, it moves me to respond to it. I'd like to assure Amazonians and the Menchumai who are watching us that uh, to have a good house, there must be organization and discipline. Otherwise, there will be no success. When it comes to organization, we've put all the nitty gritties in place to ensure success. And coming to the issue of uh, firepower, when it comes to the capital, the human capital aspect of it, I can assure you that we are 110% ready. The ARFs of Menchum are ready 110%. We have, like I said earlier, determined, courageous, and focused ARFs. The only thing they lack, the only thing, and which is what we're here today to ask Ambazonians and Menchumites to support with, is the material.
So you have now, based on your count, give to us some figures. How many Amazonian restoration forces do you have in Menchum County that are loyal to your leadership?
Paddy, I think that question is on advice. It's your
Uh,
advice.
Okay.
okay, no problem, no problem, no problem. I will give you a technical response as well, without letting out any cuts. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Fadi, we have lots of ARFs put in place. However, we have met a clique of technicians, I would say, technicians to deliver what we all expect. I wouldn't say we have 10, 12, 15, and all of that, 100, but I can assure you that we have ARFs in their good numbers. And by the way, we do not believe in 1,000, 10,000, or all of that. We believe we believe
That's what
in
Amazon
five.
tonight.
Yes, we believe in 5 lions who can deliver, not in 1,000 goats or sheep. No. So when I tell you that we are ready, it means we have the 5 lions who will deliver Mentum from this genocidal regime scourge. So be rest assured that tonight, Ambazonians, if you give Mentum what its farmers need, you will have a good harvest. I can assure you that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Kum from Menchum. We'll be back to continue this discussion. I think as we grow in the discussion, it's going to get sweeter. Right after the break, stay tuned.
The Amber War Draft Award 22 is here. People, it's time to win again.
This is the time for us to draft until we draft. That must be our slogan and rallying cry now. And along the way, we should be asking ourselves some critical questions.
Are we still enjoying 3 square meals a day?
Hello, welcome back to our studio here. Thank you so much for the talks on Menchum. Now, let's get to know more about Menchum. Let's get to find out about diversity, ecotourism, the undermined economic potentials of this great county. Menchum falls in a beautiful tourist destination and has the ability to stream to all countries in the region of West Africa to produce Menchum Falls, and is about 20 kilometers south of Wum and 30 kilometers north of Bafut. Now, you can say that this is very impressive and a potential tourist attraction. However, the access road is very rough and the observation site is not well maintained. Now, it lead in 2003 where the road was almost impassable during the rainy season. Now, on September 7th, 2009, Green Energy and the colonial government of the Cameroon signed a memorandum of understanding for a project to be built a dam and 90 hydropower plants on the river.
Well, the very rational question every critical thinker would like to ask is, with all these economic potentials, where is Menchum today in terms of development? Well, before we get into that, let me take you through let me refresh your minds of some facts. After years of sidelining, Southern Cameroon's opposition-inclined Anglophone fragment in development projects by the Yaoundé colonial regime, things purportedly appear set for change. Most recently, tediously protracted promises of the construction of a hydroelectricity facility in the region were supposed to have matured as announced in 2012. The colonial government and the Anglo-American energy contractor Jolie Africa concluded an agreement for the construction of a 450 megawatt hydroelectricity plant on the river Katsina Ala in Menchum County. It is also worthy to mention that Menchum County is located northeast of Menchum County headquarters Bamenda and close to the border with Nigeria. We are in 2022 and your worries are as many as mine.
We are looking at building a dam in the Cape region up in the northwest. That's the Midland, and we hope the dam would produce an installed capacity of approximately 450 megawatts, which would represent a 40% increase in the overall electricity output for Cameroon. Greg Newman, Jolie America's managing partner, explained after the convention signing in Yaoundé on Friday, March 9, 2012. Wow, let's match words to action in a bit. In addition to providing electricity and jobs, the project would involve surfacing the road. On 8 December 2010, was built by President Paul Biya's plans, a dam across the falls of Menchum. The river and its tributaries drain a large area of the Midland zone in Ambazonian's Menchum. It is a tributary of the Benue in Nigeria.
It was estimated back then that the Cameroon's installed electricity capacity stood at 1,033 megawatts amid rising demand from a galloping population and investors. Experts projected that the country will need 3 gigawatt of additional energy by 2020. Again, I would like you to remember that we are towards the last quarters of 2022, and so the memorandum of understanding reached between the colonial government and Jolie Africa was considered a major leap in the right direction despite years of unexplained hesitation. According to the project execution framework, the construction works were supposed to span from a period of 4 years following the completion of feasibility studies that will last 24 months. Did that ever happen? Perhaps you would like to send your answers. However, no time frame was announced for the start of the studies, though the colonial government said it had taken steps to fast-track the project and hence the choice of partners. This is typical La République du Cameroon systematical fraud vis-a-vis projects. Very typical.
Now, the involvement of the private sector is key to building the necessary infrastructure and realizing the development goals the country has set. Choosing to work with Jolie Africa further demonstrates the commitment of the government to mobilizing international investment for the development of Cameroon. Now, these were the words of Basil Atangana Kwene, Water and Energy Colonial Minister back then. We are bringing this to you today so that you will understand why you must draft tonight with a straight face while ignoring enablers who assume that Ambazonia should consider or reconsider a relationship with an oppressor. Now, before we make progress with this discussion, it is important for me to highlight that Menchum River, Kastener, Ala, and Donga, all west of the river northeast, joins the Benue in Nigeria. Now, the Menchum drains the highlands of the Okukom, a height of 2,400 meters around Lake Oku, and fall to about 800 feet. That is 2,600 west of Mbokusu Fondong highlands formed by volcanic activities, and they have been created through the valleys of rivers flowing rapidly dissected.
Actually, Menchum County has got all it takes to be a well of wealth and opportunity to its people. The fertile volcanic soil of the highlands has attracted farmers and ranchers, and the resulting clearings make the area vulnerable to soil erosion. Menchum Valley is low and used to be covered in the equatorial forest. These are usually cleared for timber, so that open grassland, which is used as grazing land and subject to erosion on the slopes, efforts are being made to reforest the valley again. While propagated as largest of its kind, La République du Cameroon is constructing a new 420 megawatt capacity hydroelectric dam in Bachenga, aiming to reduce the country's significant energy deficit by 30%. Bachenga is 65 kilometers, that is 40 miles northeast of colonial capital Yaoundé. Well, what happened to the promise made for Menchum? That's the question we would love answerable.
And we think enablers should answer this question as well. Well, fortunately, we still have Barrister Tim based here and Barrister Fujon. So, in the studio, we still have Mr. Charpati King here. We still have Pastor Victor here also in the studio to enhance this discussion further. Mr. Tar.
Yeah, thank you once again for that wonderful overview of the economic potential of the county. Now, Chairman, before I come back to you, permit me to ask some political questions to Barrister Tim and Barrister Fru. I think where's Barrister Fru? He just left. I hope he gets his seat in a few seconds. Now, Barrister Tim, you heard for yourself the promises made by colonial officials since 2012. This was a promise made for a draft for a dam to be constructed. I don't know why they made that promise at that time, and nothing has been done until today. We understand that it's just a few kilometers away from Yaoundé. They are using billions of CFA to try to fabricate a dam where there can be no dam. That's really challenging. Perhaps you want to beef that discussion.
Are you talking to me or to Barrister Fu?
I think I'm talking to both of you. You can talk on that interchangeably.
Okay, I think it's out of the question for us to be asking why they did not do this or they did not do that. The reasons are so clear. Now, talk about the dam, for example. We've seen this program all over there. They have a series of promised dams all over East Cameroon, call it La République du Cameroon. Menchum could supply electricity in the whole of West Africa if we care. But there's not even there. The simple answer is there is no desire to do anything that will help ourselves. That's a simple answer. And again, before we go into all that history, again, just remind ourselves, this is a war draft. In every war, when you fight a war, you look behind. What do you find behind the war when you are marching ahead? In this instant case, you are going to find the terrain, whether it be mentioned anywhere, littered with burnt houses, dead corpses, dead human beings dead behind us. When you look ahead, what do you see? You see a brighter future that would solve the problem. And in every war, related to a question you asked, the majority does not fight the war. Only the voted soldiers fight the war. Only the voted individuals sponsor it, finance it as we're doing. What I can say in summary is that for the Menchumites, just like any other county, I'm very sure you are like any other county. The people who are contributing this money, who are drafting, well, you are not the majority of people on Menchum. No, you are certainly the minority. But don't be discouraged. For those fighting, even if they're just 10, 150, 12, 5, you are not the majority, you are the victims. What do you get out of it? I say if you look back, you see the area littered with corpses, littered with burnt houses. We recognize people who have died, field marshals and so on. Some names will never be mentioned, but they have died. The future is brighter for you than any other person else. Let us take it from the United States, where most of us live. Every Memorial Day, for example, you find the President of the United States. They go to the Memorial Cemetery and they will lay a wreath over the tomb of the unknown soldier. That's the president. They do that every year. You are the unknown soldier who is being honored by the highest personality of the nation. Again, all this nonsense of Farmer Gracia is because the Republic does not want to do anything. I don't know who told them that 50, 60 years after independence, the Fulanis and the Boros are still happy trekking through the lands to go and feed cows. There's a better future even for the Bororo, even for the Fulanis who rear cows. Where we live here in Europe and the United States, these people were grazers. They are still grazers today. You can contain the Fulanis, farmer grazers, give them a spot, 1 mile square. They will rear 1,500 cows there. All what you need is to be able to plant the grass that will put the thing. You will not be going trekking on the ground, having snake bites. So that nonsense will end. If we develop Menchum 4 and supply Nigeria, our neighbor, with electricity, that will end the battle. The Fulani or whatever they are coming from there will have no place to hide. So we have a better future going forward. Whether it is Menchum or anywhere else in Ambazonia, we have a better future. There is no excuse for not doing anything after more than half a century. They can come now and put some pillars in fact, you'll be surprised if in the next 2 months they don't come and put some sand. Say, okay, I want to construct a dam here on the Menchum Forest. But
Well,
again, I said somewhere
that,
else.
that's to
Intelligence
blind
was not
the
meant for them
people.
alone. Yeah, intelligence was not meant for them alone. We are not all stupid. The same intelligence they have that they are maneuvering us, some of us have it, and perhaps better than them. So I think every Benchumite who knows his or her left knows that we are doing the right thing. Again, they might have been coup plotters. They were spread all over Amazonia. It didn't happen only in in Menchum. No, they were there. There were thieves always there. But we'll consider these things, all these things that went on 2 months, 6 months, a year back. They were a bomb on the journey to heaven. There's no road to heaven that is start. Even though you get to heaven, you find everything there,
Yeah.
but you have to go through the rough roads. So, Menchum,
Barrister
we really
Fu.
know what you have on.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, Barrister
Over
Fu,
to you, sir.
it is very disappointing. I know you're bubbling to just speak now. It is very disappointing that just in one county in Ambazonia, we have a potential to provide hydroelectricity to the entire sub-African region, not just to the Cameroons. But then that county has people living at below poverty level. Like Barrister Tim said earlier on, there are some without water to drink. Please.
Yes, Paddy. Let me tell you that if La Republic has not invested in anything in womb up to now, even though they started in Katsina Ala, excuse me, they also sent Chinese to Menchum Fall. But they suddenly realized that they could not defend Menchum without a military base. That's why I started by talking about a very elaborate B military base that has been constructed in Menchum. Menchum now is in the same situation like Donga and Manton. Donga and Manton has a very elaborate military camp. Menchum now has a very elaborate B camp. La Republique estimated that if they develop anything in Womb and they don't fight us properly, they may be developing property that belongs to the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. They themselves know that. That is why nothing has been developed in Menchum. La Republique knows that as much as Menchum looks primitive, the people live below the poverty level, it has an enormous economic potential. That's why they build that elaborate military camp. That is why it is so important. This draft is so important for our ARFs in Menchum, so that they will be able to be empowered with the equipment they need in order to fight back. Look, as I said when I started, I said they gunned down anybody they found in Womb, a quarter in Womb. I don't know whether it's a quarter or a village in Womb, just because of the death of one soldier. They slaughtered so many people, and there was no immediate response from the ARF because of lack of material. Therefore, we should be calling on everybody to sit up on this war draft for Menchum, so that we can empower our ARFs in Menchum, so that they can take up their responsibility, just like what is happening in Donga and Manto. We need everybody on board, just like we did for Dian. We need it for Menchum because it has an economic potential also. Not only that, it is part of Ambazonia. Any part of Ambazonia cannot be left out. We will fight to the last man standing, even if that part of Ambazonia was an arid land with no economic potential. But we're talking about Menchum here that has a potential of supplying electricity to the whole of West Africa. We cannot afford not to defend Menchum. So we are not here to offend anybody, or anybody is going to be offended for saying anything about the economic potential of Menchum. All we're saying is that the more reason why this war drought must be taken seriously is the fact that our people are being slaughtered, and there's a risk of losing our economic potential, the normal economic potential that womb offers. Or what? Let me say Menchum. We used to call it womb division. It's now Menchum division. Menchum has a lot to offer. You see, La Republique has tried so many evil things in Menchum. You remember, all of us remember the 1986 disaster. It was not the lake. Menchum took money from the Israelis. La Republique took money from the Israelis and tested a bomb on that lake. And the result was that thousands and thousands of our people were killed with their cattle and everything. La Republique
right now, Barrister, instead of them enhancing economic recovery, it's been 4 decades since that incident.
Yes.
I think in 4 years' time, it will be 4 decades since the unfortunate calamity that have befallen the people of Menchum County. Now, we've not had any intentional economic recovery. From the statistics you men are confirming here now, there is instead a military base. What does this tell us, Ambazonians that are watching, is that Cameroon is not interested in the welfare of Ambazonians, but are interested in maintaining the Franco-Cameroon hegemony. And this puts the task again to whoever is leading the county as a whole. We understand that we have a decent leadership at the helm of Ambazonia at this time, the president. But Comrade Kum and Pastor Commando, the both of you are officials. Ambazonians during a day like this would want to get from facts and figures, statistics, and whatever you are doing within the county to be sure that they have responsible men who are up to the task. And you would want to look at what we are saying here now and talk to Ambazonians again, because I understand people are inflating the Zoom link, and very soon we'll be releasing you. Barrister Tim, myself, and Barrister Fu will keep on the discussion while you go back to get yourself ready to start the drafting. So the both of you will talk interchangeably. What we want to hear from you, this is the county we have come to visit. We'll be listening to the president in any moment from now, but we want to know from you if you are actually custodians of this vision that is aimed at making sure that the county and the entire nation is free. What is happening again in your county? Get deeper. Let's hear, what are you thinking about this military base? Are you up to the task? If yes, I'm not asking for strategy, but we want to know that we have people that are committed enough to face the task. Go ahead.
Thank you, Comrade Paddy. Once more, greetings to Ambazonians and all our televiewers, and especially the panelists here. Barrister Tim and Barrister John So. In fact, you've spoken like Menchumite, and I really appreciate that. Just to add before I move on to speaking to Menchumite, I'd like to inform Ambazonia that La Republique has not just created a barrack in Menchum, in Room specifically, they have gone ahead now in Room to create a wing which they call vigilante group. And I hear some Roomites and Menchumites being excited about that. They seem not to know the implications, which I would like to straight away make clear here. If any Roomite or Menchumite is listening to me now, please hear me well. That vigilante group means no good for Menchum. This must be clear. The vigilante group is funded by who? It's funded by La Republique officials. It is managed and controlled by those same people. So you do not expect that somebody who is fighting you will do anything in your favor. No, they will do it in their favor. They might project it to look as though it is in fact, it's to your advantage. But deeply, it is to their own advantage. What that vigilante actually is, it's let me call it the informant wing of the bee. We saw just this past week what they did. They went and attacked and burned down some houses of Fulanese, or call them Hausas, in Rum. Frame up Rumites, picked up, and you will not believe that they picked up two of the very members of that vigilante that they have created. Locked them up. It was only a day before yesterday that they were released. Why did they do that? They did it to give an impression to their bosses in Yaoundé that that B barrack, which has been created, is functioning and that they are doing well so that they can get more money. But who is the loser? It is the Wombats. Please, Wombats, Menchumites, anything that La Republique gives, know that it's a smooth screen that they are projecting. There is nothing good that can come from La Republique to any of us. Nothing. So let us not be deceived that, oh, we now have a vigilante, we now have a barrack where we protect it and all of this. Let me remind us, the homes that were, in fact, that have been burnt 3 good times now. Who did them? They were the very La Republique bees. You saw them on the video, encouraging and even protecting Fulanese coming to butcher us, coming to kill, coming to burn our houses. Tell me which military in the world would do that? They became journalists, videotaping and reporting that the Fulanese were coming to come and kill the Agam. I think our people should not forget so soon. I'm just reminding us not to forget these things, Manchamat. This is very important. They didn't end there. They went down to Isu and killed the phone of Isu through their agent. All of these things, I want to make you know, Manchamat, if you hear me well. If we do not sit up, I hear some of us, we say, oh, we want to do development, this, development, that. No development can take place at a wartime such as this. It is just deceit. It is pure deceit. And for most of you who must have seen Amazonians, the person spearheading the so-called libations to curse ARFs, that is the fund of whom? From Bambi the Third. That is somebody who only knows the village since he became fun when there is a CPDM political rally. That is somebody who has been out of the village for only God knows when. And all of a sudden, he surfaces, claiming to lead a team of some charlatans who call themselves chiefs and elites to do libations, to curse only God knows who. In case they have forgotten our tradition, let me remind them. I may be a grandson even, but I know tradition. Menchum is known for thunder. Let me take that example and remind them. When you send thunder to destroy somebody and it goes and sees that that person's hands are clean, you become the victim because it comes back to you. So I want to take this opportunity to remind the phone and its click that those curses that they're labeling on Amazonian ARF, all those curses are going to be on them because their hands are dirty. They have sold their people to the genocidal regime, and so they will not go scot-free. That aside, Menchum might hear me well. We are ready to take out that B Baraka. We are ready to deal with La Republic in any way possible. Supposing that you give us what we require. Just give the ARS of Menchum. Like I said earlier, we don't believe in numbers. Israel was not liberated by millions. David alone stood, and millions of Philistines took off their heels. Gideon had only 300. He defeated all the territories and finally got into Canaan. We have borrowed from that wisdom. And with the numbers that we have, determined, courageous, and firm as they are, just give us your draft support today. And you will see. Leave the rest to us. When it comes to accountability, I told you before, worry not. Thank you.
Chairman Kum, we cannot undermine. I understand your wisdom. It is not the numbers. It's more about the dedicated. But we cannot also undermine the power of numbers in today's world. When we talk about superpowers, we're talking about figures and numbers. Numbers not make some countries big. Nigeria is one of the world's richest countries, not only because of the fuel deficit, I think because of numbers. Well, am I saying that you have to fabricate people? I'm just saying that to task you as leader in that county, that you may need to employ some wisdom when it comes to mobilizing your people, even those who are standing on the fence, those from the Coopers camp, particularly that were misled. You may need to assure Ambazonians. I believe you're doing so. Just listening to you already tells me that you're a very competent leader. But then you cannot undermine the need to reach out to as many of these people as required and get many more people help you with the task that is ahead of you. Pastor Commando, I'm sure you not want to talk about the thunder, but you want to talk now, so that after you talk, we have a music break. And right after that, Barrister Tim, myself, and Barrister Fru, we will continue the discussion while you get to the Zoom to mobilize your people. Talk to us, Pastor Commando.
Padi, if I may, before Pastor Commando comes in, what you've asked me is very important, and I would like to respond to that.
Go right ahead. Today is
Thank you. Thank you very much. When I give you that case study and the strategy which we have in place, it doesn't mean that we have not mobilized Menchumites. Mobilization of Menchumite is like breakfast to us. But there is one thing that we must agree on. You can take a horse to the river, you cannot force it to drink. But that doesn't mean you should be discouraged to continue taking that horse. As I speak with you today, if I tell you the number of Menchumite that I've reached out to only today, if it were by numbers, I'm sure the Zoom link should be having more than 5,000 there. But you see, the liberation struggle of Ambazonia, like any other, and I like the fact that the barristers did mention that as well. It is about the willing souls. But we continue to encourage those Ambazonians and Menchumites who have been disappointed in one way or the other, or who have been misled or misinformed in one way or the other. Please The reality is here. Come and pose the questions. It is said that where money is put, that is where the mind resides. Come and invest your money in the ARS of Menchum, and then hold us accountable for your money. And I want to assure you, Patty, and the Menchumites, for those of them who are involved and they can attest to that, Pastor Commando here can attest. Since we re-strategize, reorganize ourselves up till now, any dollar that has come in, if the government were to organize an audit today, you will not find any discrepancy in the financial records of Menchum. That I can assure you. Not under my leadership. And the interim government has done a lot with the Amber Peace Plan to make sure that checks and balances, accountability, responsibility, and discipline are in place. I cannot overemphasize on that. Any Ambazonian, any Menchumite who is involved will attest to this. But like I said, we encourage those ones who are yet to make up their mind today. Tonight is that opportunity for them to join us. Let us pave the way for Menchum and Ambazonia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Commando. I'd like you to briefly, since the most important thing is getting the people on the Zoom, talk to us in the patois, in the dialect. Appreciate your people, and Comrade Kum, you will do that also briefly so that we can transition and close this first section for tonight before we move on with the further discussion. Pastor Commando, can you hear me? You're muted. Yes, go right ahead, please. Okay, Comrade, could start the dialect. When he is done with his sound, he can now take you in. Just start on, please.
Thank you very much, Paddy. Remo, where were Nje yan tong juare. Mfu wa zonke, ga ti le fi, ale ko nya se no se na ese. Se fu mu jungzo. A wa se go. Zonke niko. Ga lo bolo nu. E ki yo fa wo. Ga lo ya janga, ga lo ren du, ren konse fa wo. Re ya nam jama ale ko nya ga bi joina. E po wuli lo ti ge nya la republique. E ki no mo le jung di zon wa se ki yo. So fen nei ala sa le bo jeng ale nang ko wo nya se tama jeng chulu wala wo sa alati abrana ese ani ko lu wala kwa sa alati ale yeso wa se gara yiti so ale no sulu wa na ese lati kiton lage kabo nya ye bo sise nya wuli e bo si ngose an cham za se la party ala cham ju se kikole manku wo do wuma a nurse we say uli lo boyo bali ko ale bo nurse se mi ka se kita lage e ko uli lo je ya oh ndra ya politics lo ngo sa e ni ga se no ala politics so kita lage bon le lo se tama jingo se tama ze lo wala du go tu won loti en ko ga se farati kan lo bo ya ke tra de so ga de pan wo de se ale wi wa za sa la ti wa se ri za se ati ko ale fui bon lilo ton du no wa zuwo ni won lilo an zoom link ama shi etu ama tum so wafi ni won e man wo ko
Thank you very much.
abgana ese zonke ne ko
You're a true son of the soil. I know when it comes to the patois, you can speak it tomorrow. You will have to bear with me that I'm interrupting you. The most important exercise, I understand number one might
I'm done, Paddy.
be in the Zoom. You have to go and do something. That's good. Pastor Commando, if we can hear you now, then this is your last chance. Pastor Commando? We still cannot hear Pastor Commando. I hope I'll be able to get him again when we're back from the break. I will just lead us right away into the newsroom with the Undaunted girls. I think they have a very vital information to give to us pertaining to Menchum County. Right after that, we'll have a sweet musical break, and then the two barristers will be there for us to further the discussion. Stay tuned.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pardy, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, the representatives. Thank you, Barrister Tim Besia. Thank you, Barrister Nijom Frundi. Thank you, Pastor Victor. Thank you, Mr. Kwei. Thank you, everyone, for the resounding expression of your love for Ambazonia. We are extremely excited to have you here lecture and tutor us on everything that we need to know. Meanwhile, there are some things that are not taught in school, and you also need to know. We already know the 4 subdivisions under Menchum Division. Now, below is the total number of villages found in Menchum Valley. Now, the second populated subdivision in Menchum, about 4 of these villages are second-class fundums, others are third-class, and some are yet to be classified.
Now, the villages in Menchum Valley subdivision include 1. The Baworo, 2. The Bajini, 3. Bahende, 4. Banum, 5. Amobo, 6. Ifung, 7. Uchusi, 8. Bichulu, 9. Ayenge, 10. Bakere, 11. Bufi, 12. Benade, 13. Benahundu, 14. Benangundi, 15. Benatidi, 16. Ikake, 17. Beneng, 18. Bejinge, 19. Benakuma, 20. Benange, 21. Benefumu, 22. Benakuhu, 23. Bosung, 24. Benabinge, 25. Batomo, 26. Beba Fondum, 27. Okomanjang, 28. Mukuru, 29. Modele, and 30. Befang.
Now, if you are from Menchum Valley, just increase our numbers of followers by inviting friends to follow. We must raise a huge sum tonight. Remember what Mr. Chris said. It's better to have 5 lions that know what to do than to have 1,000,000 goats. That's also mine, I'm adding there. So get your brothers, get your sisters, get everyone. Friends can also be part of the drafting tonight. Ensure that you're part of those marking history. Ensure that you're part of those wanting to write their names in the sands of time. And this is where I would draw the curtains today from the Undaunted newsroom. I'm sure that Mr. Party at the other side is still ready to continue with their interviews with our representatives. But right about now, we just have to go and meet you in the Zoom where we all will be drafting. I am Onyi Obala.
And I am Star Smart. We'll leave you with ABC Amber TV Images. Good night and God bless you.
This melody brings rest to the worried, sunshine to the sad, foster goodwill in businesses. It is nature's best medicine for trouble. Yeah. wasuo di do mi kunyo wasuo la adungando wasuo akangindo biru zongen watuama mi panyo akangindo biru zongen mi kunyo se la kenya akangindo biru zongen mi kunyo akangindo biru zongen watuama wasuo akangindo biru zongen mi kunyo
oh the bottom of the chat
to for one make me on the tomunga to for the one the tomunga will be quanya to for the one make me on the tomunga to for the one the tomunga will be quanya will I be was war will I be was and the young will I be was war we was something la adunga do it mutagan walati we was wrong
yeah mumawaga in this world if you don't have what you love what you have for not all the fingers are equal and when the Lord closes the door somewhere he opens a window
make when you leave face you make when you do what you ama oh wasu offense you make when you do what you ama wo me bring your face you make when you do what you ama wo me bring your face you it was again what you ama wo me bring your face you it was again what you ama wo me bring your face you make when you need la adonga make when you leave face you put it get we won't what you ama we won't face you we won't want amugando
oh hey wa was tukutawagam
kungi amugande wana komugande wana komugande ile wasuna tidie
wasuna magambi
That was an amazing wonder from the county of Menchum. I wish I understood. I grew up in Bamenda. If it was in Gemba, I think I could pick some words. But the music is beautiful. It tells you again the rich that cultural diversity of this nation seeking for total freedom, Amazonia. And we are back again with the great minds of our interim government. These are men who have dedicated their lives not to fight for themselves, but for their generation. Even if Amazonia was to be free tomorrow, it is evident that they are selflessly fighting for their progenies and for us that are living today. Thank you once again, gentlemen, for staying so that we can enhance this discussion. We just have to cue from where we stop to continue giving reasons to those listening to us now, and also to tell Cameroon that we understand the gimmick. We cannot return back to our vomit. We vomited the colonial government, and that's it. Barrister Team. Barrister Team, please. Are you still connected?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay, that's amazing. So we're gonna, as we're talking defense, talking on a lot of things, distracting the struggle, queuing our people, warming the air, waiting for them to get into the Zoom meeting. As soon as I have a cue from the Zoom that we have to stop, we will stop automatically. Let's just springboard from where we stop. Before we stop, you even heard the Undaunted ladies coming to unveil to us what the colonial master has hidden. They didn't teach us elaborately about ourselves. There are villages, I'm sure, that even denizens from the county might not know. Fortunately, we have a great team working at the background. I just want to seize this opportunity once again. Perhaps some of you did not hear. The Undaunted ladies appreciating Kemi Ashu for costuming them this evening. Kemi Ashu and all watching me right now, I want to tell you thank you for your selflessness. I also want to thank the board members, the club members. If you're not yet subscribed, the procedure is quite easy. In the screen, you'll be seeing what it entails to subscribe in just a few minutes. If you have not subscribed as a club member, with a basic sum of $10 US dollars monthly, please kindly subscribe. Thank you for ensuring that the ladies are representing at least every county in their costumes during the draft days. That is based on your selfless donations, the patrons, the club members, and the board members. And thank you, Kemi Ashu, for specifically and particularly making sure that they are dressed the way they are today. For I know Amazonians have followed your comments on Facebook. You are enjoying it. Kemi Ashu did it. I know she will not like me to do this, but I just cannot do any less but to tell her thank you when I look at the ladies so dressed and so beautifully dressed. Yes, Barrister Tim.
Yes, sir. Let me address when the coordinator from Menchum spoke. You mentioned something which I think will benefit, explanation will benefit all other counties and any other person in Amazonia. He mentioned that in addition to their so-called B camp, they have created a vigilante camp, which I think is not only in Menchum. There's a vigilante idea that La Republic is using everywhere. And I would like to comment on that. Once you see a regular government, be it of Cameroon, Nigeria, China, wherever, start to create vigilante groups to fight a war, that is a sign of generalized defeat by the army. So what they're doing is two things. A vigilante group is supposed to protect the community by self-defense, what they call auto-defense. I created one in Boya. But you create those things when the official structures are a failure. We created the one in Boya, in St. Pete particularly, because there was no police. We called the police, nobody is coming. So we created that thing for self-defense, to dish out criminals among ourselves. But what they're doing now, what's their purpose? What's the purpose of the vigilante groups that they are creating? They can no longer fight the war. So they know that if these guys go out to fight and confront restoration forces, and they were to die, somebody was to die, it would be a vigilante guy dying, not a bee. If somebody were to be wounded, it would be a vigilante guy being wounded, not a soldier. A vigilante guy is a cartier boy. If somebody was going to the police school for 3 years, going to a gendarmerie school for 5 years, become a colonel, a general, cannot fight against our restoration forces, how much do you expect the vigilante fighters to do? They are not trained. They have nothing. That's the practice in East Cameroon all the time. When they were faced with the Maquisards in the 1955, 59 in particular, 60, 61, what did they create? They created what they call commandos. They created camps everywhere and called them commandos. Called them and gave it to him. Because the French army have been defeated, they were defeated. So once you see vigilante groups springing up, that is a collective sign of defeat by the fighting forces of the government. And so the vigilante people, be they in Womb, be they wherever, in Santa, wherever they are among you. They are your own brothers and sisters. Why will you go and fight your own brothers and sisters who are in the restoration forces? Kill them or they kill you. So I just think that we should understand that once you begin to see that generalized failure by the government, they would even invite the vigilante groups to come and guide the governor's house or guide Monsieur the Prefet because they're unable to do it themselves. So, to me, those are signs, those are symptoms of a generalized defeat. What happens to the vigilante guys? They give him a bottle of beer after he has fought and died. That's his end. He's not recorded anywhere. He's not recorded anywhere. So the employment of vigilante groups, again, anywhere in Ambazonia, is a sign that the government is capitulating. Thank you.
Now, Barrister Tim, I'll come back to you to react to this, but perhaps Barrister Fru may want to cue. Are you saying that we should undermine the fact that even though it is a defeat, but it is a strategy that the colonial administration or forces of occupation are employing to dismantle our self-defense apparatus? Because that the vigilante or vigilante groups are just a stepbrother of the divide and rule or the northwest southwest dichotomy that has been used to split our collective engagement since 1961. Mr. Fru, please.
Since I brought that up, let me answer that question. Okay, sorry. I was trying to say that
you're gonna come in again. I think Barrister Fru should try something. You come back.
All right. I just wanted to finish that topic.
The way I look at vigilante groups, there's a saying that when you kill a soldier, make sure that soldier is dead because he can resuscitate. When you are fighting a war like the one we have, and you find people calling themselves vigilante groups, those are enablers. Those are enablers that La Republic has put together to fight along with them because they cannot fight alone. They have, like Pastor Tim said, it's a sign of defeat. But it's not really defeat. So if I was commanding our ARFs in that area, I would say the ARF should fight the vigilante group as much as they fight the enemy. Because, vigilante it's a disorder. You take personal responsibility for anything you do because you're not protected under the law. There is no such law as vigilante. Vigilante itself in the French word is a bad word. So if you get yourself involved in the vigilante because you think that the army that is in the barracks and wearing uniforms will protect you from the arm of the law, so be it. But as restoration forces who are guerrillas, you don't spare even the vigilante group because they are agents of the enemy. They are agents of the enemy. That is my take on the vigilante group. And they are all over Ambazonia, like Barrister Tim said. But it is a phenomenon that we must eliminate because it creates disorder in the villages. It creates disorder in among our people. And our restoration forces are there to protect the people. And if you allow the vigilante group to come and abuse our people, it's just like allowing La Republic to abuse our people. So get rid of them. That is my take. I may be wrong, but that is my take on this issue of vigilante. Total nonsense.
And it's a vital information. Barrister Fru, please, I'm not intercepting, but there's a vital information which you just gave. I want to amplify that the word in itself, vigilante, it defies legality. And this could be a caution to some of us who write and call even our self-defense forces vigilante groups. It could be technically wrong when it comes to the argument that they are loyal to a government.
No, a vigilante group cannot be loyal to the government. What you have, the Ambazonia Restoration Forces are
our restoration forces that are loyal to the government.
Yes, our restoration forces are loyal to the government because they are soldiers fighting under the government. Like, if you listen to the audio made by the head of state, our head of state.
I just wanted to play the audio after your door.
Yes, Sako Ikome. He was very clear. If you are not fighting under a government, you are either an outlaw or a terrorist. because all our restoration forces are fighting under a government, the interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. They say, therefore, they are soldiers and they are protected as such. That is why the international community will never address those our fighters as terrorists. They call them, they have given,
Yeah.
of course, they give a popular name called separatists and all that, but they will never use the word terrorists or sometimes they will say armed groups. I don't know what they mean by armed groups, but the fact of the matter is they fight under the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Vigilante
That's
not.
amazing. Barrister,
Vigilante is illegal.
yeah, Barrister Tim, you wanted to make a contribution before that interception. Please go ahead.
I wanted to say this. What Barrister Fua said is perfectly right. These people, the vigilante group, stems from the word vigilante, keeping veggie.
Mm-hmm.
Watch night, you call it in a primitive English. They are not supposed, they are keeping veggie so that you don't want to attack the beer camp. They are not supposed to be an offensive force. They are supposed to sit there watching when the Abba boys are coming to attack the beer camp or whatever, and then they alert them. But if they now transform themselves into an attacking force against our restoration forces, they are enemies. There's no doubt about that.
They automatically make themselves
they are military people. And then again, for them, let them hear this story very, very well. Cameroon army does not report the death of vigilante groups. Wipe away 100 of them in one village. They will not report. They report the death of a single soldier. So you are just missing in action where you join that nonsense for the purpose of drinking beer. Your death will not be reported. You are not recorded anywhere in the Ministry of Defense of Yaoundé to get any benefit, even a bare announcement that you are dead. I had earlier said a few minutes ago that in this our battle, there are our restoration forces who have died, whose names are not even mentioned. They are not recognized. We don't know them, but they have been killed in the battlefront. But there's a place for them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We have the wreath over the tomb of the unnamed soldier, where the president of the United States, the presidents of many countries go and pay you honor there. You will never be placed as an unknown soldier who fell in battle. So vigilante is illegality. Again, they are meant, what are they attacking? They are keeping vigil over what? Over the village? The Amber boys or restoration forces live in the village. They live with the people. The people know them. A true restoration force fighter does not go attacking villagers. And so the whole idea of vigilante, there are people recruited by the government, and they go there for the unselfish reason of having some small money for themselves. You remember the story of Field Marshal the King. His killer said, well, they gave me 60,000. I was 600,000, I bought a bike.
It is a 600,000.
So
and that's the money. Again, that's the worth of the big Field Marshal. Can you imagine?
Yeah, so
the worth.
Somebody takes 600,000. Let me finish. Somebody takes 600,000, buys a motorcycle. This guy, I'm sure he has a wife. He's living in his house and driving the very motorcycle that he killed somebody for. His wife knows. His friends know it. That's why they caught him. He was he was a vigilante during the war of government. Because that's why he was able to jump out and go and kill Field Marshal.
Yes. During the Vietnam War, any Viet Cong who was giving information to the Americans was an enemy. The vigilante that the government forms and puts them are our enemies because they take information from us and they transmit it to La Republic forces to come and attack either us or our villages. So any vigilante group is an enemy. An indic, what the French will call indic, that is somebody who is there to give information to the powers that be, the people that recruited them, and the people that are feeding them. You see, all these vigilante groups in Wum, in everywhere in Amazonia, created by La Republique, are informants of La Republique, and they should be dealt with as informants. That is, killed and make sure that proportionately.
Mr. Sir,
That's what it
let me
is.
just add this clarification. They are
No,
our
right
first
ahead.
line of enemies. Let me just finish this point. Again, citing from the instance of the field marshal so-called of the BLM who died. I'm very sure I come from there. If field marshal had come down, was walking through out in Menji, the B would not even know him. They didn't know this guy. This bad who killed him, went on foot, killed him. He's the one who told the military that I've killed that guy. And then true, go and show us the guy. That's the vigilante, because he knew our own fighters. He could identify where he slept. He could kill him and give a report for 600,000 francs. So vigilante are not friends. Short and simple, they are not friends to us.
Now we have been reporting, Barrister Besea. We have been reporting that because the stories are conflicting. You have a school of thought which says that former FMA, that's Oliver, is actually alive and has just been resettled. And now you are confirming audaciously that someone actually killed him. So you are saying that the disappearance of now this brings the controversy. That's not a discussion for tonight. I just said that to enforce our stand.
No, Paddy, let us. Paddy, let me tell you.
You cannot run away from that. Let me tell you something.
No.
Field Marshal of the BLM is dead. I don't care what anybody says. Look, I wanted
to talk on that, Mr. So this is the truth. Now, Mr. Paddy, there are two things that we see all the time. We see propaganda and we see truth.
Yeah.
That guy was telling that story that you and me saw on video. It's not propaganda.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's the physical human being. They're calling his name.
Yes.
Whether field marshal, whether he like you or not, if he's not dead physically, which I'm sure he is dead, he is dead militarily. He's not coming back to the war front. So he's dead as far as this struggle is concerned.
In every dimension, he's dead and dead for good.
Yes, he's not coming back to the fight for this battle.
The sweet part about it is that today we got a new one from Barrister Besea. That's why I like talking to you, that is. The one you have given to us that he's dead militarily, he's not coming back to the war front. That is signed and sealed. If he resurfaces, I'm sure that will be his ghost. Before we even come back to conclude this discussion and then to join others in the Zoom link, let us listen to the president, what he said, and then we analyze it briefly. I think it is necessary that we do it. We've heard it on every different platform, but listen to the president again very closely and understand the technicalities of every word he said.
Truth for the talk, it be accepted. So me I go continue for talk. Even if it not be accepted, I know say the truth will surely prevail. Different kind of people they do they carry gun. Different people. Some people they way they carry gun, they call them a rebel. They call them militia. So when they do they carry gun, they call them security guard. Some people they do they carry gun, they call them armed men. Like criminal, they call them armed men, gunmen. Some people they do they carry gun, they be well armed, they call them terrorists. There's some other people do they carry gun, they call them soldier. You know the difference? A soldier now a person where he be legally authorized by the state for carry gun on behalf of the state to defend the state, to defend the nation, defend the people. May I tell you again, a soldier now somebody where he be legally authorized by the state to work for the state, to carry gun and to defend the state, the sovereignty of the state. Na soldier that. So legally speaking, na soldier man, now you get the legal right for carry arms. You see him for you know, ask you say show me license. If you see soldier for road, he carry gun, he say show me license for that gun. The uniform we wear them, the government will carry for head, now license that. He be authorized for carry gun. Because he be work as an agent of the state. The good thing we don't happen for Ambazonia and say, we don't restore our independence. Therefore, we are a country. We don't restore our government. Therefore, we also have a government like any other country. Therefore, the people, the way they carry gun in our various communities to defend the cause of this government, to defend our people and defend our nation, are known as soldiers. We be Ambazonia soldiers because soldiers belong to the state. Soldiers no belong to individual. Soldier no belong to some company, to some money organization. Soldier belong to the state. If I tell you, say, that man son a soldier for Ghana, this other man son a soldier for Niger, or that man son a soldier for Egypt, which do you think for your head? Say he work for some company, say he work for some man, or he work for government. How Ambazonia will be different? May I tell you one thing? One of the reasons why international community, it don't hook them for neck, they don't feel call any owner, any of our ARFs and fighters on the ground, they don't feel call una, say una be terrorists. If una do the correct thing, now because you are legally, you are legitimate. That means say legally you get the right to carry arms. Why? Because your government says you should carry them. Because you get a government. Any man where they carry gun, where you know they carry them under a government, they call that person a rebel. They call that person a criminal. If you come after that person anyhow, because not only the government, if it license you as a soldier, and then you carry the gun on behalf of the government, and you be called a soldier. Yes, that is it. When you decide, say, you don't want to fight under the government, may I tell you what did happen? You did tell the world, say, you are not a soldier, because we not get the government. You are just a gunman. You be just a rebel. You be just probably a criminal. Because any man will hold gun will not be under any authority if he do them anyhow. The reason why they expect a soldier for carry gun, now because that soldier is there under authority. You know, if you talk to many people, they call gun, carry any army, everybody carry your own gun, goes form your own company, make your own group, put your own name, carry your own gun, and they know they under any authority. Anybody where they carry gun, it must be under the discipline of governmental authority. Otherwise, those are not soldiers. The number one law for soldier work, not discipline. Discipline means you there under authority. The reason why the international community, you never call any of our fighters, any of our ARFs, say they be terrorists or they be this and that. The Republic don't try so they don't tire. Now because we have a government, and as a government, until the day where they go tell this IG, say, una no get right, na lie. There was no resolution 1608, na lie. Una no be a sovereign nation. Una no be don't be a government by yourself. Na lie, we not agree with una. That is when they go question who are those carrying arms on behalf of this government. They ask that now, carry your gun, do what the government says, be under the authority as is required in every nation, and do the right thing. Make no man no try for own you, because that is organized criminality. I not talk say, no, you can't be some money boy. No. Or may you come for IG, no, make you boy. No. Carry that gun with the authority of the nation behind you and do the right thing. The government not take away anything from you. Instead, it give you legality to carry that gun. As a soldier, not as an armed person or militia or rebel. Rebel say the rebel who? Rebel now in forces inside a country where they fight against the government where they inside that country. We are a separate country with its own soldiers. We are not rebels. So we get to be under our own government in our own country. Some of these things they might just talk because I want to make the be on record. You know, some talk the day way that when man they talk they make sense. After it don't pass, then some people they go to find them, say, who said that talk the way that man be talk? Because in that time where the truth for the talk, it be accepted.
Wow. Yes, it has gone down history that now people now elders and for grandma talk say a word for a while is sufficient. Is very sufficient. You've heard the president of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, and this tells you something about his savoir, his wisdom, and leadership and competence. A few days ago, I'm sure it's Nelson Ochiba who brought this video to my attention. It has to do with Chris Arno. And he standing in front of his audience and the screen and telling Amazonians, we do not have a nation yet. And I'm like, did this man read any of the books? And he was talking so loudly, loud sounding nothingness. And I'm like, are these the people that should stand and talk to a people who have restored their independence, a people who feel that they were re-colonized? And it's quite important because we need to talk about this real quickly. We have just a few seconds to do that. The legality and historicity of this movement is something I'd like the both of you to articulate on as we round off this pre-draft show for Menchum County. Barrister Bisa, perhaps you want to start.
Okay, let me take off on what you have said. I never like to be discussing Chris Anu anywhere because it's nonsense. If what he says has any credibility, because I think I followed that his thing somewhere. How does he justify it in the very speech? He claims to have a government. He claims to have a constitution. He claims to have a judiciary. He claims to have all this and that. That is in total contradiction to what if he doesn't have a nation. But back to what the president said. You see, a soldier, whoever is a soldier, is armed within the territorial competence of his own country, of his own political organization, or his own political territory. And so, for example, they cannot even deny it. We just passed 1st October 2 weeks ago. All these celebrations that took place in Ambazonia, they were not done in private. People were dancing with guns. People were doing what they wanted to do, and they did it. And I think I heard someone say that the colonial governor or whoever in Bamenda said they should not interfere with them. Why do we not see the same celebrations by Ambazonians in Douala, in Yaoundé, in Bafoussam, carrying guns and dancing? That's not their territory. They have no legitimacy for carrying guns and dancing over there. So, only the legitimate people under a government are allowed to carry guns. Just a good example. You remember about a month or less than that ago, when the Ivorian soldiers went to Mali, they were caught because they came in arms. And they said, no, why you are mercenaries? Why are you coming here with arms for? And they're still in detention now. So take it back to your Ivory Coast, be a soldier there, under your president. That's fine. So I think the president is very, very much apt on the point. Even at the United Nations, where you join the United Nations peacekeeping force, it's a contribution of forces from different countries. You don't come from your country, you're gone. No, you come like me and you. You get to the mission,
And there
you
should
sign
be a
the
legal
contract,
process there should be a legal process actually granting the peace force into the country, because Cameroon is rejecting peace force. I don't even know if the UN wishes to do that anytime. Barrister Fru, please. We are supposed to be.
Let me tell you.
Ending this discussion in a few seconds.
I have always said, no country can have independence twice. We had our independence voted for by the United Nations General Assembly. Even though they attached a condition that La Republique repudiated, we had our independence. And that independence was restored in 2017. We had now the interim government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. It was the British Southern Cameroon that we have transformed. We have changed the name to the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. So it's a government. And all our soldiers, all our restoration forces, they call them restoration forces, are fighting under this interim government. And let me send a message clearly to those people who call themselves unity warriors, the palace warriors, fighting, or say they are fighting, they are not fighting for anybody, they are fighting on their own. They are all terrorists because they are not backed by any government. Secondly, the so-called Ground Zero Command is not backed by any government. So they are all a bunch of outlaw people running around with guns. And the only way you can qualify them is terrorism. Because they are not under any authority. Listen, I said it before and I will say it now. Ambazonia would not sustain what you call vigilante group, because when you are a vigilante, you're on your own. Oh. Even the government that put you there will not come to your defense, because you have no you are not fighting under any government. Even though they have put you there to give them information, it's their war tactics. Ambazonia Restoration Forces
And
have
they're using you like a sacrificial lamb.
Yes, they have various units. Those restoration forces that give information, they go around, look for information, and give it to his colleagues to fight. That is the role of the army. They are under the Ambazonian Federal Republic of Ambazonia. So the president has calibrated and given that message correctly, and those who are behaving on the ground as if they have authority to carry AK-47 without answerable to anybody, to any government, not anybody. Because if you are answerable to an individual, you and that individual, you are terrorists. But you must answer to a constituted authority. And that constituted authority for the Southern Cameroon, British Southern Cameroon, was restored in 2017. And since then, we have been celebrating our National Day without any interruption, even from the enemy. So I think that message has gone viral to all those people who are running around, led by no pity, that we're fighting, we're fighting for ourselves. You're a terrorist.
I think this discussion is quite important and that's the objective of this platform. Thank you very much, Barrister Team. Thank you very much, Barrister Fru, for opting to join. I wanted us to talk on something which I'm going to bring you back, the purported Nnamdi Kanu release. I'm just getting updates. That is something different. I'm bringing you back. I think we don't need to start it. Let's not even start.
Yeah, Mr. Paddy. Before we sign out and go on this topic, but of course mention something which I want the people to understand before we leave. Our independence was voted in 1961, but let us assume that it was never voted at all. We are still entitled to independence. There's precedent for that. Sudan is next door to us. We have today is Sudan and Southern Sudan. They never went through the United Nations to have Southern Sudan have a representative sitting there at the United Nations. Just go a little bit. There's India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. The British administered India, and Pakistan as one colony. On their departure, they divided it into two: Pakistan and India. Bangladesh was under Pakistan. They fought and had their independence in the 70s. They didn't go through the United Nations, they fought. They showed that they did not want to stay under Pakistan. And they sit at the same United Nations today with Pakistan, with the Americans, with the Chinese, with anybody else. So this notion of people saying you didn't have independence is immaterial. People, they have been single countries that multiply into 3, into 4, to 5. So that nonsense or that idea is a very faulty argument. Yes, even if we don't have independence, we're entitled to it. Because the right to self-determination is imprescriptible. It is on every community of people in the world, if you only meet the demands. So let those people sing this doctrine of independence, this and that. They should learn something that they did not know, or that they are hiding. Again, knowledge was not meant for them alone.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
Thank you very much, great gentlemen, for opting to be a part of this discussion. Thank you. When next you see me with them, be rest assured that we'll be getting deep into the Namdi Kanu purported release. Leads in updated news is saying it is not actually a release. So we want to find out from these law minds, what is it? What are the technicalities involved? How soon will he be free from the DSS? And we have to relate it with our leaders that were arrested from, oh, should I say kidnapped from Nigeria and forcefully deported into Cameroon. The High Court in Abuja actually ruled in their favor and requested that they be transferred back into Nigeria. Cameroon has been disinclined to this court order. Cameroon has defied every injunction, even their own laws, if they have any. They have defied international law, and that's vital. But now, getting back to the basis of it, as I encourage those of you watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and the home front to join the president in the Zoom link, is the re-education. We need to take the opportunity, county chairs and authorities take special note of this and use the president's audio as a re-education material to the defense forces. They should understand the technicalities involved with them braving up to pick up arms and to defend us as a people. That, again, I would say tonight is for Menchum County, and officials are definitely frowning at me for stretching so deep. The Zoom link is inflating. If you are not there yet, go there now, because the president cannot be waiting for you. I'll leave you with this beautiful music, and any moment from now, we'll come back live when the president starts addressing the nation. I know if I do not stop the stream on Facebook, some of you might not join the Zoom. The draft takes place in the Zoom, not on TV. We're going to stream at the home front, but we'll stop the stream on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in and stay tuned.
Selo mama This trick will save you.
Wow, this is a hit track. Selo Mama Amba, Selo Mama Amba. This is a hit track. Trust me, we're going to make it a hit track on ABC Amba TV. I want to thank Comrade Peter Kum for giving this beautiful music. You see, our mothers are not afraid to identify themselves with our self-defense volunteers. This is wonderful. This is one of the best things that have happened this week. Selo Mama Amba, Selo Mama. Now, Resource Mobilization is asking me to inform county officials that the ball is now on your court, so you can take over from us. Meanwhile, for those of you watching on Facebook, I'm stopping the stream right now because we are already streaming at the home front. Join the Zoom link.